Hana stood before the mirror in her preparation chamber, watching her skin flicker between pale blue and dull gray. She could not control it. The blue meant fear. The gray meant she had accepted her fate. Both colors were true. Her forearms trembled as her attendants dressed her in the ceremonial robes. The fabric was a blend of her people's traditional silk and something called cotton from Earth. It felt strange against her crystalline skin. Everything about this day felt strange. "You must stay calm, my lady," one attendant whispered. "Your colors will show everyone your emotions." Hana wanted to laugh. What was the point of hiding her emotions? Everyone knew she was terrified. Everyone knew she did not want this marriage, but no one cared what she wanted. She was a daughter of House Valen, and her duty was to serve her people, even if it meant being given to a monster. The humans had won the war 3 years ago. Hana remembered the reports that came back from the front lines. Stories of human soldiers who never stopped fighting, who never surrendered even when facing certain death. They were predators, everyone said. They felt no mercy. They ate the flesh of other sentient beings. They treated their females as property, as things to be owned and used. And now Hana was being given to one of them. The treaty required marriages between the two species, symbols of peace, the diplomats called them. Hana knew the truth. Her people had lost the war. The humans demanded these marriages. Her people had no choice but to agree. She thought about trying to run. But where would she go? Her family had chosen her for this honor. If she refused, she would bring shame to House Valen. Her younger sisters would suffer for her cowardice. So she stood still while the attendants finished dressing her. "It is time," her mother said from the doorway. Her voice was cold, formal. She had not looked at Hana with warmth in weeks, not since Hana had begged her to choose someone else. The wedding ceremony was held aboard Concordia Station, a neutral place between her world and Earth. The hall was filled with representatives from both species. Hana walked down the aisle alone, as was the custom of her people. Her large compound eyes saw everything with painful clarity. The humans in the room watched her with curious expressions. Some seemed sad. Why would they be sad? At the end of the aisle stood her future husband. Deho was his name. She had seen his picture before, but meeting him in person was different. He was tall by her people's standards, though she knew he was average for a human. He had dark hair and kind eyes. Those eyes watched her approach, and she saw something in them that confused her. He looked gentle, concerned, almost as afraid as she was. That could not be right. Humans were not afraid. Humans were the conquerors. When she reached him, Deho smiled softly. He raised one hand in greeting, but did not touch her. "Hello, Hana," he said through the translation device everyone wore. His voice was quiet and warm. "I know this is difficult for you. We will take everything slowly. I promise." Hana's skin flashed bright orange. Pure terror. She took a step back. Deho immediately lowered his hand and stepped back as well, giving her space. "I am sorry," he said quickly. "I did not mean to frighten you. I will not come closer unless you want me to." The ceremony began. It was an awkward blend of both cultures. A Valthene elder spoke prayers to the Crystal Mothers. A human official read something about love and partnership. Hana barely heard the words. She was too focused on the humans standing beside her. He did not look at her like she was property. He did not leer or smile with cruelty. He simply stood quietly, his hands at his sides, respecting the space between them. When it came time to speak their vows, his voice was steady and sincere. Hana's voice shook so badly that she could barely get the words out. Then it was done. They were married. The reception was torture. Hana sat at the head table beside Deho, while guests from both species mingled uncomfortably. Some humans tried to speak with her, but she could not make herself respond. Her skin stayed bright orange the entire time. Eventually, they stopped trying and left her alone. Daeho noticed. He leaned slightly toward her and said softly, "You do not have to talk to anyone if you do not want to. Just tell me if you need to leave. We can go whenever you wish." "Why?" The word came out before Hana could stop it. "Why do you care what I wish?" Daeho looked genuinely confused by the question. "Because you are my wife. Your comfort matters to me." Hana did not understand. In Valthene marriages, partners barely spoke to each other. They had separate lives, separate quarters, separate everything. Marriage was a political arrangement, nothing more, but Daeho spoke as if he actually cared about her feelings. When the reception finally ended, Hana followed Daeho to their assigned quarters. Her heart pounded in her chest. This was the moment she had been dreading. She had heard stories about what human males expected from their wives on the wedding night. Daeho opened the door and gestured for her to enter first. The quarters were large, with a common area and what appeared to be a bedroom. Hana froze in the doorway, her skin flickering rapidly between orange and gray. "Wait here for a moment," Daeho said gently. He went into the bedroom and came back carrying blankets and a privacy screen. Hana watched in confusion as he set up the screen in one corner of the common area, creating a small private space. He placed the blankets inside and added some pillows. "This is your space," he explained. "No one will come in here without your permission, not even me. You can sleep here tonight, or any night, for as long as you need." Hana stared at him. "I do not understand." Daeho sat down on the floor, far from her, and looked up at her with those gentle eyes. "Hana, I know you are scared of me. I know what your people believe about humans. Some of those things are true. We can be violent. We can be terrible. But we can also be kind. I want to be kind to you. You do not want to—" Hana could not finish the sentence. "No," Daeho said firmly. "Not unless you want to. Not until you trust me. Maybe never if that is what you choose. You are not my property, Hana. You are a person. You have the right to say no to anything." Hana's skin began to change. The orange faded slowly. The gray lightened. For just a moment. A tiny hint of pale green appeared. Hope. Small and fragile, but there. "Take all the time you need," Daeho said, standing up slowly so he would not startle her. "I will be in the bedroom if you need anything. The door will stay open. You are safe here. I promise you are safe." He walked to the bedroom and paused in the doorway. "Good night, Hana. I am glad to meet you." Then he was gone, leaving her alone in the common area with her private space and her confusion. Hana stood there for a long time, staring at the privacy screen he had built for her. No one had ever asked what she needed before. No one had ever cared if she was comfortable. Slowly, carefully, she stepped behind the screen. She sat down on the blankets. They were soft, human-made, she realized. He had given her his own blankets. For the first time since learning about her arranged marriage, Hana allowed herself to cry. But these tears were not just from fear. They were also from something else. Something she did not have a name for yet. Something that felt dangerously like hope. 2 weeks passed. Hana stayed mostly behind her privacy screen. She came out only for food and to use the bathroom. Each time she watched Daeho carefully, waiting for him to reveal his true nature. Waiting for the monster to appear. But the monster never came. Instead, she watched him do strange, peaceful things. He spent hours tending to small green plants he kept near the window. Earth plants, he had explained when he noticed her watching. He would water them gently and speak to them softly. Sometimes he would trim dead leaves with careful fingers. He listened to music, soft, flowing melodies that were nothing like the harsh war drums she had expected humans to enjoy. Sometimes he would close his eyes and simply sit, listening, his face peaceful. He cooked. Every day, Daeho would prepare meals in the small kitchen area. The smells were strange, but not unpleasant. He always made 2 portions and left one on the table for her. He never demanded she eat with him. He would simply say, "I made dinner if you are hungry," and then eat his own portion while reading or working on his tablet. Hana began to eat the food he made. She did not tell him, but she thought it was delicious. One evening, she found him reading. Not on a tablet, but an actual paper book. She had not seen one in years. Most species use digital formats now. "What are you reading?" The question surprised her. She had not meant to speak to him. Daeho looked up and smiled. "Poetry. Would you like to hear some?" Hana hesitated, then nodded. She stayed behind her screen, but she listened as he read. The words were about nature and love and sadness. They were beautiful. When he finished, Hana realized her skin had turned pale lavender. Calm. She had not felt calm in months. "Your people write about love?" she asked. "I thought humans only cared about conquest." Daeho was quiet for a moment. "Humans care about many things, Hana. Yes, we fight. But we also love. We create art and music. We write poetry. We garden and cook and dream." He paused. "We are not monsters. We are just people trying to survive in a difficult galaxy." Hana thought about this after he went to bed. Maybe she had been wrong about humans. Or maybe Daeho was unusual. She did not know yet. On the 17th day, everything changed. Hana made a mistake. One of the food items in the kitchen looked similar to a Valthine fruit. She ate it without checking. Within an hour, she was violently ill. The substance was toxic to her biology. She collapsed outside the bathroom, too weak to call for help. Her skin flickered between gray and dark blue. Pain and fear. She thought she might die here, far from her home world, alone. Then Daeho found her. She heard him cry out, felt him try to lift her. She pushed weakly at him with one of her 4 arms. "No, do not touch me, do not hurt me." But she was too weak to fight. "Hana, what happened? What is wrong?" His voice was panicked, scared. Why did he sound scared? "Ate something," she managed to whisper. "Toxic. Leave me." "No." The word was firm, absolute. "I am taking you to medical. Right now." He lifted her carefully. She was much larger than him, but humans had that strange strength. He carried her through the corridors of the station, running. She could feel his heart's beating fast. Wait. Did humans have more than one heart? She could not remember. The medical bay was bright and cold. Doctors surrounded her. Valthine doctors, she noted with relief. They would know how to treat her. But Daeho did not leave. He stood nearby, refusing to move when the nurses tried to send him away. "I am her husband," he said. "I stay with her." Hana drifted in and out of consciousness. When she was awake, she saw Daeho. He sat in a chair beside her bed. He held one of her hands gently. When the doctors said things she did not understand, he asked questions. He demanded they explain everything. When they tried to give her a treatment that might have bad effects, he asked if there were safer options. He fought for her, protected her, cared for her. 3 days later, Hana woke up feeling better. Her skin was pale green again. Healing. She turned her head and saw Daeho asleep in the chair next to her bed. He looked terrible. His eyes had dark circles. His hair was messy. He had clearly not left the medical bay the entire time. "Why?" she whispered. Daeho's eyes opened immediately. "Hana, you are awake. How do you feel?" He stood up quickly, leaning over her bed with concern written across his face. "Why did you stay?" she asked. "Why did you care?" He looked at her as if she had asked the strangest question in the universe. "You are my wife. You were hurt. Why would I not care?" Valthine husbands do not act this way. Valthine marriages are just political arrangements. We live separate lives. We do not care for each other like this. Deho sat down slowly. He still held her hand, and she realized she did not mind. Human marriages are different, he said quietly. When we marry someone, we become partners. We take care of each other. We support each other. We become family. But you did not choose me. This marriage was forced on both of us. That is true, Deho admitted. I did not choose you, but I chose how to treat you. I chose to be kind. I chose to care. He smiled softly. And honestly, Hana, I am starting to like you very much. Hana's skin flushed with color, pink, embarrassment mixed with something else, something warm. After she was released from medical, things changed between them. Hana no longer stayed behind the privacy screen all day. She began to sit in the common area, watching as Deho went about his daily activities. She asked questions. He answered patiently. "Why do you talk to your plants?" she asked one day. "Some humans believe plants grow better when you speak kindly to them. I am not sure if it is true, but it makes me happy to do it." He looked at her. "Would you like to help me care for them?" Hana approached cautiously. Deho showed her how to water the plants, how to check the soil, how to gently support the stems. It was peaceful work, meditative. She found herself enjoying it. That evening, Deho invited her to eat dinner with him at the table, not separately, together. Hana hesitated. Then she said yes. They sat across from each other. Deho had made a Valthine-style dish. He had researched her people's cuisine and found recipes that used safe ingredients. The food was not perfect, but it was good, and it was made with care. "Why did you volunteer for this marriage?" Hana asked. "You could have stayed on Earth. You could have had a normal life." Deho put down his utensils. "Because of the war. I fought in it, Hana. I did things I am not proud of. I hurt people. I saw friends die." His voice was heavy with old pain. "When the war ended, I wanted to do something good, something that would help build peace instead of destroy it. So I volunteered." "Were you afraid?" Hana asked. "Of marrying an alien?" "Yes," he admitted. "Very afraid. I did not know if we would be able to communicate, if we would have anything in common, if you would hate me for being human." He looked at her with those gentle eyes. "But I decided that fear was not a good reason to refuse. Sometimes the most important things we do are the things that scare us." Hana understood that feeling. She had been scared every day since arriving here. But maybe, like Deho, she could choose how to face that fear. "Will you teach me about humans?" she asked. "I want to understand your people better. I want to understand you." Deho's face lit up with joy. "I would love that. And will you teach me about the Valthine?" "Yes," Hana said. For the first time, she meant it. "Yes, I will." That night, Hana slept behind the privacy screen, but she did not feel trapped anymore. She felt safe. And tomorrow, she thought, maybe she would come out a little more. Maybe she would take another small step toward the strange human who had shown her such unexpected kindness. 4 months passed like a dream Hana did not want to wake from. She and Deho had become friends, real friends. They cooked together, cared for the plants together, and talked for hours about everything and nothing. He taught her Korean words. She taught him the meaning of her skin colors. They laughed together. They shared silences together. Hana had not felt this happy since before the war. Then her sister arrived. Sujin came with a delegation of Valthine nobles to inspect the treaty marriages. She was everything Hana was not. Confident, cold, perfect. She had taken a human name years ago as part of her diplomatic training, but she made it clear she had no love for humans. "Sister," Sujin said when they met in one of the station's formal greeting rooms. Her skin was controlled, showing only neutral gray. You look well. Surprisingly well. I am well, Hana replied. Daeho has been very kind to me. Sujin's eyes narrowed. Kind, I see. She dismissed her attendants with a wave of one hand. We need to talk. Alone. When they were alone, Sujin's carefully controlled expression cracked. Hana, what has he done to you? You seem different. Are you under some kind of chemical influence? Human technology is advanced. They could be controlling your mind. What? No! Hana's skin flashed orange in shock. Daeho has not done anything to me except treat me with respect and kindness. Kindness, Sujin repeated flatly. Hana, he is a human. They are not capable of kindness. They are predators. Whatever he is showing you, it is an act, a manipulation. You are wrong, Hana said firmly. You do not know him. And you do? Sujin stepped closer. Hana, listen to me. I have studied humans for years. I know how they think. They are brutal and selfish. They take what they want and destroy what they cannot use. If you have developed feelings for this creature, it is because he has manipulated you into doing so. The words hurt more than Hana expected. Why are you saying these things? Because I love you, little sister. Because I want to save you. Sujin grasped two of Hana's hands. Report him. Tell the council he has been abusive. They will void your marriage. You can come home. But he has not been abusive. He has been wonderful. Sujin's skin flashed red. Anger. Then you are either brainwashed or a traitor. Which is it, Hana? Are you weak, or are you betraying your own people by sympathizing with the enemy? The accusation stung like a physical blow. After Sujin left, Hana sat alone in the greeting room for a long time. Her skin could not settle on one color. It flickered constantly. Confusion, pain, doubt. Was her sister right? Had Daeho manipulated her somehow? Hana thought about the past months, the kindness, the gentleness, the care. It had all felt so real. But what if it was not? What if she was just foolish and naive? When she returned to their quarters, Daeho immediately noticed something was wrong. Hana, what happened? Nothing, she said, but her skin showed dark blue. Sadness. Please talk to me. Did the meeting with your sister not go well? She thinks you have brainwashed me. The words came out sharper than Hana intended. She thinks you are manipulating me, that everything between us is fake. Daeho was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. I see. And what do you think? I do not know. Hana's voice cracked. I thought I knew, but now I am confused. How can I be sure my feelings are real? How do I know you are not just very good at pretending? You cannot be sure, Daeho said quietly. That is the nature of trust, Hana. It always requires a leap of faith. All I can tell you is that everything I have shown you is true. I care about you. But if you need space to think about this, I understand. I will give you as much time as you need. Hana felt tears forming in her compound eyes. Why? Why do you not get angry? Why do you not demand I believe you? Because forcing you to trust me would prove your sister right. Trust cannot be demanded, it must be given freely. He moved toward the bedroom. I will sleep on the couch tonight. You take the bed. For the next 3 days, Hana barely spoke to Daeho. She watched him carefully, looking for signs of deception, looking for proof that her sister was right. But all she saw was the same gentle man who had cared for her when she was sick, who had given her space when she was afraid, who never asked for more than she was willing to give. On the 4th day, everything changed again. Alarms blared throughout the station. A recorded message played, "Security breach. All residents evacuate to emergency shelters. This is not a drill." Hana rushed out of their quarters and into chaos. People were running in all directions. She heard explosions in the distance. The lights flickered. "Terrorist attack!" someone shouted. "Anti-peace extremists! They have bombs!" Hana was swept along in the crowd, separated from Daeho. She called out for him but could not hear her own voice over the noise and panic. She ended up in a damaged section of the station with a dozen other aliens. The door had jammed shut. They were trapped. The structure groaned around them. Debris fell from the ceiling. A young Valthene child cried in her mother's arms. An elderly Thraxian tried to pry open the door with his claws. It would not budge. "We are going to die here," someone wailed. Then Hana heard voices on the other side of the door. Human voices. A loud bang, metal screeching. The door suddenly tore open. Human security forces poured in. They wore protective gear and carried tools. "Everyone stay calm," one of them shouted. "We are here to get you out." They moved with incredible efficiency. One soldier immediately went to the Valthene child, checking her for injuries. Another helped the elderly Thraxian to his feet. They treated everyone with the same care, regardless of species. A piece of ceiling broke loose. It fell toward the Valthene child. Without hesitation, a human soldier threw himself between the child and the debris. The metal struck him hard. Hana heard something crack. The soldier cried out in pain but held his position, shielding the child until others could pull them both to safety. The soldier's leg was badly broken. Bone showed through his skin. But he smiled at the child through his obvious agony. "You are okay," he told her. "That is what matters." Hana watched this human risk his life for a child of the species he had been at war with just 3 years ago. No hesitation, no second thought. He just did it. The evacuation continued. The humans worked tirelessly, pulling people from danger, treating injuries, offering comfort. Hana saw it all with new eyes. When they finally reached a safe area, she saw Daeho. He was covered in dust and had a cut on his face, but he was alive. When he saw her, something broke in his expression. Pure relief washed over his features. He ran to her. "Hana, thank the stars, you are safe. I was so worried. I tried to find you, but we were separated, and I thought—" His voice broke. Hana looked at this man, this human. She saw the terror in his eyes transform into joy. She saw how much he cared, how much he had always cared. It was not manipulation. It was not pretending. It was real as the human soldier who had broken his leg to save a Valthene child. Without thinking, Hana stepped forward and wrapped all 4 of her arms around Daeho. She held him close. Feeling his heart beat against her chest, Daeho stiffened in surprise, then carefully put his arms around her. "Hana, I am sorry," she whispered. "I am sorry I doubted you. My sister was wrong. I know that now. I see it clearly." She felt Daeho's arms tighten around her. He buried his face in her shoulder. She realized he was shaking. "I was so scared," he admitted. "When I could not find you, I thought I had lost you, and I realized that losing you would break my heart." Hana pulled back just enough to look at him. Her skin began to change. It shifted through several colors before settling on one she had never displayed before. Brilliant gold. Cherished. The rarest color in Valthene biology, reserved for the most precious things in one's life. "Daeho," she said softly, "I want to understand something. I want you to teach me about human love, because I think that is what I am feeling, but I am not sure. Will you help me understand?" Daeho smiled through his tears. "Yes, I will help you understand. And Hana, I think I am feeling it too." They stood there in the middle of chaos, holding each other, while around them the station slowly calmed. Hana had been wrong about humans, about Daeho, about everything, and she had never been happier to be wrong. The terrorist attack changed everything. 23 people had died. Hundreds were injured. The damage to the station was severe, but worse than the physical damage was the political damage. The attack gave power to those who had always opposed the peace treaty. "This proves that mixing our species does not work," the hardliners shouted. "End the treaty marriages. Send the aliens home." On both sides, politicians used the tragedy to push their own agendas. Within a week, there were official calls to dissolve all treaty marriages, including Hana and Daeho's union. Hana sat in their quarters watching the news broadcasts. Her skin was dark gray. Depression. Everything she had found with Daeho was about to be taken away. "Maybe it is for the best," she said quietly. "Maybe we were foolish to think this could work." Daeho sat beside her, not touching but close. "Do you want to give up?" "No," Hana admitted. "But what can we do? Our governments have decided." "Then we change their minds." Hana looked at him. "How?" "By telling our story, by showing them that peace is possible, that love between species is possible." He took one of her hands gently. "Will you stand with me, Hana? Will you fight for us?" Hana thought about the human soldier who had protected the Valthine child. She thought about Daeho staying by her side for 3 days in medical. She thought about all the small kindnesses that had transformed her world. "Yes," she said, "I will fight." The Coalition Council met 2 weeks later to vote on ending the treaty marriages. Hana requested permission to speak. She was terrified. Public speaking had never been her strength, but Daeho helped her prepare. He listened to her practice her speech 100 times. He encouraged her when she wanted to quit. "You are braver than you know," he told her. "You have already done the hardest thing. You opened your heart to someone you were taught to fear. Speaking to the council will be easy compared to that." The council chamber was enormous. Hundreds of representatives from dozens of species filled the seats. Cameras recorded everything for broadcast across the galaxy. Hana stood at the speaker's podium, all 4 of her hands trembling. She looked out at the sea of faces. Then she found Daeho in the audience. He smiled at her, nodded encouragement. Her skin shifted to pale green. Courage. "My name is Hana of House Valen," she began. Her voice was quiet at first, but it grew stronger as she spoke. 4 months ago, I was given to a human husband. I did not want this marriage. I was terrified. I believed everything my people had told me about humans. That they were monsters, that they were cruel, that they would hurt me. She paused. I was wrong. Hana told them everything. She told them about Daeho building her a private space on their first night together. About him caring for her when she was sick. About the human soldier who broke his leg to save a Valthine child. She did not hide her initial fear. She did not pretend it had been easy. "I learned something important," she said. "Fear is easy. Hatred is easy. It is much harder to open your heart to someone different from you, to see past your prejudice, to choose kindness over fear." Her voice grew passionate. "But that is exactly what my husband did for me. He showed me kindness when I gave him nothing but fear in return. He showed me patience when I doubted him. He showed me love when I did not believe such a thing was possible between our species." She looked directly at the cameras. If one human could transform one alien's world through simple compassion, imagine what we could accomplish if we all chose that path. Imagine a galaxy where we build bridges instead of walls, where we seek understanding instead of conflict. Hana's skin began to shimmer with color. "Do not end these marriages because one attack made you afraid. That is what the terrorists want. They want us to retreat into our old hatreds. They want us to give up on peace. If we do that, then they have won." She spread all 4 of her arms wide. "I stand here before you as proof that change is possible. I was raised to hate and fear humans, but I chose to let go of that hate. I chose to see the person instead of the species. and it has given me something precious, something worth fighting for." Her skin turned brilliant gold. "I love my husband. I love the future we are building together, and I will not let fear destroy that. I hope you will not either." When she finished, the chamber was silent. Then someone began to clap. A human representative. Then another person joined. Then another. Soon, nearly half the chamber was applauding. Not everyone, but enough. The vote was close, but the treaty marriages survived. Barely, but they survived. After the vote, Hannah was approached by dozens of other mixed-species couples. They thanked her. They told her their own stories. Many had faced the same struggles she had, but they were fighting for their relationships just as she was fighting for hers. "We need to stay together," one of them said. "A Thraxian woman married to a human man. We are stronger together than apart." An idea formed in Hannah's mind. She discussed it with Deho that night. "What if we created a place for people like us?" she said. "A settlement where mixed families could live together. Where we could build a new kind of society based on acceptance and understanding." Deho's eyes lit up. "A colony on a neutral world." "Yes. Is that possible?" "Let us find out." It took months of planning, negotiating, and fundraising, but eventually they secured rights to a habitable planet in neutral space. They called it Haven. 30 families signed up for the first wave of colonists. Humans, Valthene, Thraxians, and others. All of them in mixed marriages or partnerships. All of them tired of fighting for acceptance in societies that did not want them. The day before they left for Haven, Hannah received a message. It was from her mother, short and cold. "You are no longer my daughter. You have betrayed your people for a human. Do not contact us again." Hannah stared at the message for a long time. Then she deleted it. The rejection hurt. It would probably always hurt. But she had made her choice. Deho found her crying in their quarters. He held her while she grieved the loss of her birth family. He did not tell her it would be okay. He did not make false promises. He just held her and let her feel what she needed to feel. When her tears finally stopped, he said, "I want to show you something." He brought up a video call on his tablet. Suddenly, Hannah was looking at 2 older humans, a woman and a man. "Hannah," the woman said warmly, "we are Deho's parents, Yuna and Woojin. We wanted to meet you." "Hello," Hannah said uncertainly. Her skin showed pale blue, nervousness. Yuna smiled. "Deho has told us so much about you. We watched your speech to the council. You were very brave." "Thank you," Hannah said. "We also heard that your family has rejected you," Woojin said. His voice was gentle but firm. "That is their loss. But we want you to know that you have a family here. With us." Hannah blinked in confusion. "But I am not human. I am not your daughter." "Family is not just blood, Hannah," Yuna said. "Family is the people who love you and stand by you. You make our son happy. You showed incredible courage in choosing love over fear. That makes you our daughter, if you will have us." Hannah felt tears forming again, but these were different tears. "I would be honored to be your daughter." Yuna beamed. "Then it is settled. When you come to Haven, we will visit you. I will teach you all the embarrassing stories about Deho when he was a child." "Mother, no," Deho groaned, but he was smiling. After the call ended, Hannah looked at Deho with wonder. "Your parents accept me. They want me in their family." "Of course they do. They love me, and I love you. That is all that matters to them." He touched her face gently. "Hannah, you have not lost a family. You have gained one. My parents will love you. My siblings will adore you. You will never be alone." Hannah's skin shimmered with rainbow colors. Every emotion at once, joy and sadness and hope and love, all mixed together. The next day, they boarded the transport to Haven. As the ship left the station, Hana looked back at the stars behind them. Somewhere out there was her homeworld, the family that had rejected her, the life she used to know. Then she looked forward, at Daeho sitting beside her, holding her hand, at the other families around them, all heading toward the same dream. At the future they would build together. "Are you ready?" Daeho asked. Hana squeezed his hand. Her skin turned brilliant gold. "Yes, I am ready." 5 years later, Haven was no longer a dream. It was a real city. Buildings rose from the ground in a blend of architectural styles from dozens of species. Streets bustled with mixed families. Children of different species played together in parks. The impossible had become reality. Hana stood on the balcony of her home, watching the sunset. It was a human tradition she had grown to love. The sky turned orange and pink and purple. Daeho had told her that humans believed sunsets represented hope, the promise that even when darkness came, light would return. "Mama! Mama!" a small voice called from inside. "Jin is not sharing the toys again." Hana smiled and turned from the sunset. She went inside where their 3 children were playing. Well, 2 were playing. 1 was crying. Jin was 7 years old, human, brown hair and bright eyes just like Daeho. They had adopted him when he was 3, orphaned by the war. He was currently hoarding all the building blocks. "Jin, we talked about sharing," Hana said gently. "But I was using them," Jin protested. "You have enough blocks to share. Give some to your brother." Nari, their youngest, was 5. Also human. Black hair and a sweet smile that could convince anyone to give him extra dessert. He looked up at Hana with hopeful eyes. "Please?" Jin grumbled, but handed over half the blocks. The boys went back to building their respective towers. The 3rd child sat quietly in the corner, drawing. This was Iso, 6 years old, Valthine. Her crystalline skin was currently pale yellow, which meant she was content and focused. They had adopted her 2 years ago after her parents were killed by extremists who still opposed the peace. "What are you drawing, sweetheart?" Hana asked. Isul held up her tablet. She had drawn their family, 2 humans, 2 Valthine, and 1 regular human, all holding hands. Above them she had written in careful letters, "My family." Hana felt her skin flush with gold. Cherished. "It is beautiful, Isul." The front door opened. "I am home," Daeho called out. All 3 children dropped what they were doing and ran to him. "Papa!" They crashed into him like a small wave. Daeho laughed and tried to hug all 3 at once. Jin climbed onto his back. Nari wrapped around his leg. Isul grabbed his hand with 2 of her 4 arms. "Did everyone have a good day?" Daeho asked. The children all talked at once, telling him about their days. Hana watched with deep contentment. This was her family, strange and mixed and absolutely perfect. After the children were in bed, Hana and Daeho sat on the balcony together. He had his arm around her. Her head rested on his shoulder. They fit together perfectly now. 5 years of practice. "I got a message from the Galactic Council today," Daeho said. "They want us to come to an emergency summit." Hana lifted her head. "What kind of emergency?" "A new species has been discovered, the Threnor. They are aggressive and expansionist. They have already attacked 3 coalition worlds. The Council is divided on how to respond." "Another war?" Hana's skin flickered blue. Fear. Maybe. Or maybe a chance for peace. Daeho looked at her. "They want you to speak at the summit. They think your story might help unite the coalition." "Me? Why me?" "Because you changed minds before. Because you showed people that transformation is possible." He smiled. "Because you are the woman who was brave enough to love her enemy." The summit was held on Earth. Hana had never visited Daiho's homeworld before. She was amazed by its beauty. Blue oceans, green forests, white clouds. No wonder humans fought so hard to protect it. The summit chamber was even larger than the Coalition Council Hall. Leaders from hundreds of worlds gathered to debate the Threnor threat. The arguments were heated. Many species wanted to attack first, to show strength. Others wanted to try diplomacy, but were shouted down. "Diplomacy is weakness," one leader yelled. "The Threnor respect only power. We must strike hard and fast." "That is how wars start," another countered. "We just ended one terrible war. Do we want to start another?" Back and forth. The arguments went in circles. No progress, only anger and fear. Then it was Hana's turn to speak. She walked to the podium slowly. Her skin showed every color as emotions fought within her. She looked out at the sea of faces. So many species, so many differences, so much potential for conflict. "I was asked to speak to you today about peace," she began. "But I will not lie to you. I do not have easy answers. Peace is not simple. It is not comfortable. It requires sacrifice." She took a breath. 5 years ago, I stood before the Coalition Council as a terrified woman who had been given to a human husband. I believed humans were monsters. I believed they could not love, could not feel empathy, could not be anything but violent predators. Hana looked directly at the human representatives. I was wrong, completely, utterly wrong, but I did not learn that through speeches or treaties or laws. I learned it through one person. One human who showed me daily kindness when I gave him nothing but fear, who cared for me when I was sick, who protected me during the attack, who taught me that love is stronger than hate. She turned to address the full chamber. "You want to know how to handle the Threnor threat. I cannot tell you whether to fight or to negotiate. That is for military strategists and diplomats. But I can tell you this. Whatever path you choose it together, united. Because division is what our enemies want. Fear is what they want. They want us to retreat into our old prejudices and hatreds." Her voice grew stronger. 5 years ago, I almost lost everything because I let fear control me. I almost lost the love of my life because I believed the propaganda and lies my people told me about humans. But I made a choice. I chose to see past my fear, to see the person instead of the species, to open my heart even though it terrified me. Hana's skin began to shimmer. That choice changed my life. It gave me a husband I adore, 3 beautiful children, a home on Haven, friends from a dozen different species, a purpose. She spread all 4 arms wide. But more than that, it taught me something crucial. Transformation is possible. Change is possible. We can be better than our worst instincts. She looked at each section of the chamber. I know humans can be violent. I have seen it. But I have also seen them be compassionate, creative, loving. I know Valthine can be cold and rigid, but we can also be loyal and protective. Every species here has darkness in their history. Every species has done terrible things, but every species also has the capacity for greatness. Her skin turned brilliant gold. So here is my answer to the Threnor threat. Face them together. Not as separate species who tolerate each other, but as a true coalition. United by something stronger than fear. United by hope. By the knowledge that we are better together than apart. She paused. The humans taught me something. They have a saying, it is always darkest before the dawn. They believe that even in the worst times there is hope for a better tomorrow. I did not understand that saying when I first heard it. I thought it was just words. But now I know it is true. Hana's voice softened. I was in my darkest moment when I was forced into marriage with a human. I thought my life was over. But that darkness led me to the dawn, to a life more beautiful than I could have imagined. If that kind of transformation is possible for one person, it is possible for an entire galaxy. She looked directly into the cameras. To the Threnor, if you are watching, We are not your enemies. We do not want war. But we also will not surrender our right to exist. We offer you a choice. Join us in building a galaxy of cooperation and mutual respect. Or stand against us and face a coalition that is truly united for the first time in history. Hana turned back to the chamber. The choice is yours, leaders of the coalition. Will you let fear divide you? Or will you choose hope? Will you choose transformation? Will you choose to be better? The chamber was silent when she finished. Then, slowly, someone stood. A human representative. She began to clap. Others joined. Then more. Soon, the entire chamber was on their feet. The applause went on for 5 full minutes. The vote was unanimous. The coalition would form a unified defense force with integrated command structure. Humans would serve alongside all species as equals. They would offer diplomacy to the Threnor, but prepare for defense if diplomacy failed. Months later, the Threnor did respond. Not with attack, but with curiosity. They sent ambassadors. Negotiations began. It was slow, difficult work, but it was work done together. Hana and Deho returned to Haven, to their children and their life. Hana continued her work as a cultural liaison, helping newly mixed couples navigate their differences. She had helped hundreds of families now, each one a small victory for peace. One evening, as they sat on their balcony watching another sunset, Deho asked her a question. Do you ever regret it? The way we started? Being forced into marriage? Hana was quiet for a long moment. Her skin shifted through colors as she thought. Blue for the fear she had felt, gray for the pain, gold for the joy. Finally, her skin settled on that rare rainbow shimmer. All emotions at once. No, she said finally. I do not regret it. Because sometimes the things that terrify us most are exactly what we need to become, who we are meant to be. She took his hand. You did not just transform my world, Deho. You taught me that transformation is possible, that we can be more than our fears, that love is stronger than hate. She looked out at Haven, at the lights of the city where hundreds of mixed families lived in peace, at the stars above where the Threnor were learning to be neighbors instead of enemies, at the future spreading out before them like an endless possibility. And if it is possible for one person, she continued softly, it is possible for an entire galaxy. Deho pulled her close. I love you, Hana. I love you too, she replied in Korean. Her accent was perfect now, 5 years of practice. Below them, their children played in the garden. Jin was teaching Nari how to throw a ball. Isolde was watering the earth plants, speaking softly to them just like Deho had taught her. 3 children from different species, one family, living proof that walls between worlds could be broken down. Hana watched them and felt her heart swell with pride and love. She had been so afraid 5 years ago, afraid of the human husband she did not want, afraid of the future she could not control. But that fear had led her here, to this moment, to this life, to this family, to this hope. The sun finished setting, darkness came, but Hana was not afraid of darkness anymore, because she knew what humans knew, what she had learned through love and patience and daily acts of kindness. The darkness was not the end, it was just the space before dawn, and dawn always came. As long as people chose hope over fear, as long as people chose love over hate, as long as people chose transformation over stagnation. Hana looked at Deho and smiled. Her skin shimmered with rainbow light. Ready for tomorrow? He smiled back. With you, always. And together, they watched the first stars appear in the darkening sky. Not enemies, not strangers, but partners, husband and wife. Two people who had crossed an impossible divide and found something precious on the other side. Hope for a better galaxy, one family at a time.